Alright, welcome back, guys. Today I have something very near and dear to my heart to talk about, and that is going to be Star Wars and how Disney has ruined yet another character, yet another very important character. They continue to spit on the grave of what was once the greatest franchise in the world. It used to be the best movies in the world. Now they continue to ruin characters and ruin the image. I did not expect them to do something like this with this character, and that's going to be the fact that they have changed Darth Plagueis' backstory to be very different than it was before. Obviously, Darth Plagueis has never appeared on screen in any Star Wars movie or TV show or anything like that, but he is one of the most important characters in Star Wars. He was Darth Sidious's master, and he is responsible directly for the events that happen in the Clone Wars. He was the one who the entire clone army was his idea. It was his idea to have the chips implanted in them for them to eventually destroy the Jedi Order. It was his idea for Palpatine to become Chancellor and for them to kind of move in through the political sphere. All of that was his idea. And ultimately, Palpatine did betray, murder him, as most Sith Lords do, but he is still one of the most important characters in the Star Wars canon. That is to say, until Disney has now removed it all from the canon, with this new book by E.K. Johnston called Queen's Peril, which establishes Darth Sidious as the Sith Lord, not the apprentice, long before the events of Phantom Menace occur. Obviously, in the old canon, if you haven't read the book Darth Plagueis by James Luceno, that's what all this is. That's what all Darth Plagueis' story is based on. Obviously, the only time he's mentioned in movie is the famously memed scene where Palpatine, the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise. That's the only time he's mentioned in the movies, but he has this whole backstory in this book, Darth Plagueis, and I would highly recommend reading that book. It's one of my favorite books in the of all the Star Wars books, but unfortunately, it is now not canon because Disney continues to ruin everything Star Wars, and they just don't know how to handle the Star Wars IP. So in the old canon, Darth Plagueis is alive during Phantom Menace, and you see events in Phantom Menace occur up until the very end of the book when Plagueis dies. All the stuff with Palpatine becoming Chancellor and stuff all happens from the Sith's point of view in this book. And at the end of the book, it's around the time when Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi are fighting Darth Maul. Palpatine actually goes to Plagueis's apartment where he's living on Coruscant and gets him super drunk and then murders him with the Sith lightning, and that's how he dies. In the book, it actually mentions that Palpatine saw a huge shift in the Force, like Darth Maul, Darth Maul, we know he didn't die, but the Darth Maul, gets cut in half and all that around simultaneously with Darth Plagueis dying. And that's when Palpatine becomes the main, the Sith Lord. He's no longer the apprentice. And if you're wondering how it could work with 3 Sith like that instead of, the rule of 2, Plagueis actually thought that Palpatine was an assassin and that he wasn't a Sith, and Palpatine actually kept that from him. So that's how it worked with there being 3 Sith simultaneously instead of 2. It's actually the exact same thing that Count Dooku does with Ventress later, except Palpatine finds out about that in the Clone Wars TV show, and he actually makes Dooku try to kill Ventress, if you've seen the Clone Wars TV show. I think that's a very cool backstory, that Palpatine wasn't actually the big Sith Lord. He was just the apprentice in Phantom Menace, and he becomes the Sith Lord at the end. I think it works very well narratively, even though probably very few people know about it because I don't know how many people actually care about the canon like I do, but now all of that is gone and Plagueis's backstory is no more. The book Darth. So I'm editing this video and I realized that I actually just won this race. I finished at 449.441 and this guy finished at 449.5. How is that supposed to work? Please fix your game, Rockstar. Okay, back to the video. Plagueis by James Luceno is no longer canon because this new book in the Disney canon, Queen's Peril by E.K. Johnston, completely contradicts what happens in that book. And this book is part of the Disney canon, therefore that book is gone. In this book, I have not read it, but I know that it establishes Palpatine as the Sith Lord long before Phantom Menace, because the book takes place right before Phantom Menace, and you find out that Palpatine has been the Sith Lord, not the apprentice, for a long time. Now, this does not remove Darth Plagueis from the canon completely, because he is still mentioned in Revenge of the Sith, and thankfully, Disney has not removed the prequels from the canon. It seems like something Disney would have done by this point, but at least they haven't done that yet. They've done everything else. They've completely removed the expanded universe of novels from the canon, and basically everything that was written before they took over, but not on screen. The prequels and the Clone Wars TV show are the only thing they kept, obviously, other than the original trilogy. But this is just another example of Disney doing something that they just didn't have to do. They could have just left it. It was perfect. Darth Plagueis' backstory was perfect. The way Palpatine becomes the Sith Lord is perfect. And now they just had to make this novel. And they just had to ruin it. And now Plagueis is back to being, I guess they're just going to say that Palpatine killed him much earlier and that Palpatine did all this with the Clone Wars stuff now instead of Plagueis. And that just isn't as good in my opinion, because they've already ruined Palpatine as a character. They ruined him by bringing him back in episode 9 and having him do all this body transfer stuff, and I don't even really want to think about that movie anymore because I hate it. I hate the Disney trilogy. In my head canon, they aren't part of the canon. It's just 1 through 6. I think I've mentioned that in past videos, but continues to ruin so many characters since they've taken over. They ruined all the characters from the original trilogy. They ruined Luke Skywalker. They ruined Han Solo. They ruined Princess Leia. They've even ruined characters like Darth Plagueis now. Darth Plagueis was fine. I liked how he worked in the canon. I liked everything about him. He was a cool character, even though we haven't seen him on screen at all. I used to be the biggest Star Wars fan in the world. Obviously, I still love Star Wars. I'm not hyped for anything Disney's doing in the future. This High Republic stuff, I don't care about it at all. I don't want to see it at all. I hope it doesn't mess with stuff like the Old Republic in any way, or ruin the prequels or originals in any way. But I feel like it's Disney. They're gonna find a way. I don't even know what else they're doing at this point, but I just wish George Lucas had never sold to Disney, and that's my opinion on the situation. Disney has done nothing but been greedy since they got the franchise. They were originally planning to do 1 movie a year forever, and people hating episode 8 and Solo flopping ruined that, thankfully. But I know they are just going to continue to milk this until it's no more. But that's just my opinion on this whole situation. Disney has ruined another character, Darth Plagueis. Just let me know what you think about it down below, and I will be back with more videos in the future. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.